Greetings, I'm Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. About time that I cover Agricola. It's not the first worker placement game, but it's the one that first comes to my head when I gotta think of one. Goal of the game is to get the most points. To do that, you're gonna have to do a little bit of everything in making your farm. So as part of the setup for the game, you will have your little board. You'll have a hand of 7 occupations and minor improvements. Give you some things to work with. You'll have your player color with 2 family members in your little wooden house of 2 rooms. You'll have stables and fences you can build. Extra cards will be set out here based on the number of players at 3, 4, or 5. No extra cards are out there if you're playing solo or a 2-player game. There'll be the major improvement boards, which is always in use. You'll have the resources and animals and food nearby. And you'll prepare the round cards. They're split into stages, so that you'll have kind of a recurring set of turns every game, but they'll be in a different order. It'll even give you a kind of reliable, hey, here's what you can expect. First 4 rounds, the next 3 after that. So you got some room to plan. Yeah. You'll determine the starting player. Everybody starts with 3 food, but the starting player only gets 2. Food is important. You're going to need it when the harvest comes up, or you're screwed. At the start of the round, we'll flip up a new card. Anything that collects resources like wood, clay, reed, food, stone, animals, those will get more tokens on them. If there were tokens there from last time, it'll add even more, making it a kind of jackpot to go for. And then starting with the starting player and going around, players will take their turns doing stuff until everyone is out of their family members, and they'll come back. At the end of a harvest round, you will have to feed your family. First, any fields you have with grains or vegetables, you'll pull one off. You can always use grains and vegetables as straight up food. Animals, you have to process. Because eating raw meat is crazy. You'll have to feed family members based on how many you have. Normally it's 2 food per family member. But if you have any new family members join, they are 1 food during the harvest step. If you are unable to feed your family, you get a begging card. Or you probably take 1 card and start putting a number of tokens on it equal to the number of times you're unable to feed family members. You are not allowed to give up your family members, and for the love of humanity, you are not allowed to eat your family members. That's just messed up. But here's... and also, if you have any animals, of course, after you feed your family, you can breed them. If you have 2 of an animal, you get 1 more. You have to have the space for them. If you don't have the space, you either have to process them immediately with a fireplace or something, or they're just lost. So, actual stuff that you're going to end up doing over the course of the game. Plowing fields. Your first field can go anywhere, but do keep in mind where you're trying to expand your house and where you might want to build pastures. All future fields are going to have to go adjacent to that one, orthogonally. Anything that lets you sow a field. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So if you put in a grain, you stack 2 more grain on top of it, and you'll get 1 grain at harvest. If you sow a vegetable, you'll add another vegetable on top of it, and you've got 2 harvests worth of vegetables. Alright. Expanding your house. Depending on what type of house you have, you'll pay 5 of that material and 2 reed to add another room. There will be things later that let you renovate. So it's 1 reed and then 1 resource of the type you're moving your house to per room to renovate it. Having more rooms early means more potential for family members, new family members early. But it means renovating it later is going to get a little more expensive. But then again, it's probably better building early and then doing it this way, depending on your access to resources. Family growth. In order to grow your family, you have to have at least 1 spare room available. Otherwise, you can't do it with this card. You'll have to do it with the... Let's see here. Family growth even without space in your home. This is what the board will look like at the end of the game. Tons of actions to take. You can do major or minor improvements depending on the space. Here to get the starting player token, and or do minor improvements. Major improvements will be here. And it's probably the only space you can do that one. Alright. So, in order to do an improvement, you will have to meet any resource costs on the top right. You might have to meet prerequisites in the top left. Like, bean field requires occupations. You might, as an alternative to the cost, return something you previously built, like the fireplace to get the cooking hearth. And there's no limit to how many of the improvements you can have. Occupations. If you use this space and it's your first occupation, it costs you nothing. Otherwise, it'll cost you a food. This space is an occupation at the cost of 2 food. So that way, there's 2 potential ways to get occupations each round. At least in the 3-player game here. Some things might say bake bread. If you have any kind of oven or cooking thing that lets you turn grain into food, that's baking bread. You might be able to build fences. Fences lets you enclose in areas called pastures where you can store animals. Under normal circumstances, you are limited to 2 animals per space in a pasture, and a given pasture can only have 1 type of animal. So here, we potentially have up to 4 animals. You can double the space, the capacity of each space in the pasture by building a stable. Stables can be built here. And now I can have 4 boars in each of those spaces. You can have an unfenced stable. and store one animal there. You can store an animal in your house as a pet. Just bear in mind that when breeding comes around, you're going to need to have that space, or you're going to have a way to process the animals into meat. And that's basically how things are going to go. Certain minor improvements require you to pass them to the player to your right, or your left. Yeah, to your left, so that they can get use out of them. And then after the last round in Harvest, you'll figure out your points. You get points as follows. Your fields. As long as you have more than one field, you'll have one less point than the number of fields you have, to a maximum of 4 points. If you have pastures, and it's not spaces in the pasture, it's actual pastures. So like this here and then this here, they're two separate pastures. You get points straight up. Grains between what you have on your fields and what you have stored. You need to have at least 8 grains to get the maximum points. Vegetables. You get a point per vegetable. To maximum 4. Having at least 1 sheep, boar, or cattle will get you at least 1 point. The point curve is better for cattle. They come in late, but they're worth more. It's easier to get points with them. You have to have a ton of sheep to get to 4 points. And then the boars are in the middle. If you have nothing, no fields or just 1 field, no pastures, no grains, no vegetables, no sheep, no boars, no cattle, you lose points. Every category of that where you have 0 is a -1. And with fields, you need to have at least 2 fields to not get the -1. Any unused spaces in your field and your farmyard are minus points. The one benefit of the unfenced stable is that this counts as 0 points instead of -1. Every fenced stable is worth a bonus point. Every clay hut room, if you renovate to clay huts, is worth a point. If you renovate to stone, they're worth 2 points per room. Every family member you have is worth 3 points. If you can max out your house to stone and get all 5 of your family members, that's 25 points right there. Any cards you have that give you bonuses at the end of the game, like the fireplace is just a point by itself. The joinery gives you points for wood you have left over, for example. That'll be added to your final total. Any occupations you have that might give you points will be applied, but they'll seem few and far between. Begging cards will take away 3 for each family member you failed to feed. And most points wins. The game has a solo mode where you're trying to hit certain goals each game. Like the first game is like 50 points. I have yet to try it. I'm torn between doing watch me play it solo and the first few rounds. But we'll get to that. I'll cross that bridge when I need to come to it. Other things the game includes are little multiplier tokens if needed. The only things that should ever be considered limited are the player pieces. You've got 5 workers, 4 stables, and 15 fences. Otherwise, there's no limit to animals, building resources, food resources. Alright. And that's pretty much the game. The game also has an expansion in the form of Farmers of the Moor. The thing about that, the game's got two things going for it in that one. The first is now you have to heat your home with fuel. You can get fuel by cutting down trees for wood and using wood as fuel, or by cutting peat and getting fuel that way. The game also adds horses. Notably, these are the enemy people idea. Yeah, there's revised versions of the games that have the tokens actually represented with things more representing what they are with better shapes. But yeah, horses, which also another kind of animal you can count. They can also be used for food, appropriately enough. But yeah, Agricola's been around for nearly 20 years. It's, if not 20 years by now. Why I like it, it nails its theme. You're trying to farm, you're trying to survive. You need to develop your shit to stay alive and actually make things better for your family in the long run. The art's nice. Like I said at the start of my video, this is the game that comes to mind, and it is the worker placement game. You go there, sucks to be you for wanting to go there. Yeah, this is not the first worker placement game. It's just the one that comes to mind when I think about the concept. And one of the few. Lords of Waterdeep's another one. I know, apparently Careless is also a worker placement game, but I fucking hate that game. So, Agricola. It's got a revised version. Feel free to check that out. Try out the solo play challenge. See how well you do. And just have fun being a farmer now that we're done with the plague and everything's supposed to be coming back from the bottom. Alright. Have fun. Thanks for watching. It's Pillar Nexus. I'll see you next time.